Thank you.
No. We don't know why that comes. Edward just nodded his head. Okay.
There's a power button.
It just seems to get in the way.
It's covering something.
Oh, okay.
So I need to talk close to the computer, right?
Yeah, hold on just a second. Let me.
See what the code has on it.
So they might be able to see you, although. Okay, yes, like right here would be good.
Okay.
Can I give you a screen share?
It's screen share.
Oh.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Oh.
Hi.
Howdy.
This is an honor for me to speak up here, and thank you for Edward and Paula's arrangement. Yes, I got stuck here. I flew here May 28 last year, 2021. And I was supposed to go back to Taiwan in 3 months just to see my son and have a leisure and mix of many things. So maximum is about August. I'm going back to Taiwan. But because COVID-19, because all these restrictions, so here I am. And I'm glad I have this opportunity to talk to you about Taiwan. Well, a little bit about myself. The child in the middle is me. And that's my father, that's my mother. According to my father, that hairstyle was the most fashionable hairstyle back then. I don't know if that's Chinese style or not, but my father and my mother are all from academic field. My father was in Beijing University, and my mother was in Shandong. Beijing and Shandong are all northern part of China. So I am a northern native from China, northern China. And I guess that picture on the right shows the style that my father is a long-term smoker. But he quit smoking after about 40 years, but he still suffered from lung cancer.
Can you hold on a second?
Sure.
I'm gonna move this over here. Yeah, does that look better for them?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then you kind of need to be kind of close to here, not too close. All right. All right, there you go. Try it.
Can the people in the Zoom hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, folks at home?
Well, again, another culture. That's me. And this is my daughter, my son-in-law. My son-in-law is from Germany. So when they married, it is Chinese tradition that they still on their knees in order to show their respect to my mother. Well, my mother, I kind of blocked the view of my mother. So the tradition still continue in some families, such as mine, but not necessary to all the family now. So in other words, the tradition is gradually fading away.
Okay.
So to the left, that's me. And I'm with the president of Taiwan. So I was introducing the Taiwan space program to him. And this is my father. And this is the back then president of Taiwan. And that is President Ma Ying-jeou. He graduated Harvard University. And the lady there is my daughter. So we understand Chinese, we understand Taiwan. I'm a little bit involved with the politics, but not that much. At least I have the sense of political situation in Taiwan, and I hope I share a little bit here. Yeah, this is Oxford University. And in the middle is the Chief Technology Officer of Apple Computer. He was awarded honorary PhD degree by Oxford. And that's my wife, Benny G. He's the regional director. Okay, where is Taiwan? Yeah, Taiwan is in the middle of Pacific Ocean, not in the middle, I'm sorry. It's just magnified. So it's it's a small island next to what do you call China. From end to end, it's less than 400 kilometers. From the width, it's about 150 kilometers. So all in all is less than 14,000 square miles. So it is small. But we have 23 million people in this island. Whoa. With 2.5 million in Taipei. So it's very condensed. It's a lot of people. And I don't know if you're aware of, in 2021, so many publicities, media coverage saying there is a potential war between China and Taiwan. But that potential war was taken away by Russia's military to what's the place? Ukraine, yes. So we are second to that now. The average temperature there is, oh, I'm sorry, this is a typo, 556. It's a 56 to 92. So it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's definitely not cold. So here I am in Dallas, I'm not used to the cold here. The average income is 22,000 US dollar per year. So we are, I think, in between developed or developing country. Well, here's Taiwan. Taipei is on the top. That's right, thank you. And Taipei itself is probably, how should I say, less than, I don't want to mislead you, but it's a small, it's a small area of valley, but with 2.5 million people. So with all the government, central government agency and all that, all in Taipei. And further south, south means down there. This is the south, this is the north. Further south is Taoyuan, and Taoyuan is the international airport. So where you're going to be into Taiwan, you'll be land in Taoyuan. And further south is the Hsinchu. Hsinchu is the Silicon Valley of Taiwan, where I don't know if you're familiar with all the car chip, all the airplane chip was manufactured in Hsinchu, the company by the name of TSMC. So now we are all suffering the shortage of car supply. To be more specific is the IC chip short supply, which the whole world is focused on, hey, what's going on, TSMC? How come you don't produce more? But then one day, TSMC spokesperson come out officially said, we have capacity enough to supply, which implies somebody in the middle is putting the inventory. And then going down further south is Taichung. And then all the way down is Tainan. Tainan is the first city, and which I will later introduce, first city in Taiwan to be developed back in 1500s. But they focus a shift toward north for political reasons. And if you go down further south, there are a lot more cultural reserve of Taiwan. So while you landed in the northern part of Taiwan, you should see Taipei, but it is highly recommended that you go south, spend a few days in the south because there's a lot of culture reserved in a more complete way of Taiwan. A lot of temples, a lot of artifacts, and less polluted. And this portion is the better beach. So during the holidays, the highway will be all jammed up because everybody want to go to here. So don't come in holidays to Taiwan. You will be in on highway with 23 million people. Typically driving from Taipei to here about 3-4 hours. During the rush hour, no, during the holiday times, it will take you 16 hours. So highly recommend that you don't come to during that days. And to be exact, I can write to Edward showing what day you should not come. Okay, just some bullet point. Some people think Taiwan is part of China. The short answer is no. But the long answer is okay. I will show you the long answer. Like my father, he is a student of Beijing University, the second year. Then after Japanese invasion of China, and that was over, but then the Communist Party in China and the Chiang Kai-shek's KMT party become domestic fights, domestic war. So the school, the Beijing University School, took all the students away from campus to go away from war, from location to location to location. So finally, my father was brought to Taiwan, and he doesn't know what is Taiwan. So Taiwan was really not known by China's point of view. But because Taiwan has an ocean separated from China, so that become a buffer zone, so that the war will not come to Taiwan. So my father went to Taiwan about 22 years old. And the name of the country is called the Republic of China, ROC. Then Mao Zedong took over China. He pronounced the China become People's Republic of China. So there is a difference between Republic of China and People's Republic of China. And both parties claim that's the real China. But that's the history. Now, Taiwan has two major parties. One is pro-unification. The other one is pro-independence. And so the real China, People's Republic China, claim they have the ownership of Taiwan, while the peoples in Taiwan, particularly on the independence of Taiwan, will have very, very bad confrontation. And that's why sometimes war can be imminent. I think it's only a threat on each other. Most people don't think it's going to happen. But anyway, that's just for the information. So today, People's Republic of China controls mainland China, which is big. And the Taiwan Republic of China controls Taiwan. Both sides claim that they have the right to control the others. So this is where the confrontation, and we are in the middle of it. Okay. Talk a little bit about the American in Taiwan. In Taipei, there is a so-called American Institute in Taiwan will process all the visa, all the necessary for American citizen, but they cannot be called embassy because Taiwan is not recognized as a country. There is only one China policy from US. So anyway, Taiwan again is in the middle of this political conflict. This chart was shown by the Ministry of Technology from Taiwan for the Summit of Democracy in US. This has happened about the last month. And when he showed this chart, the Taiwanese minister showed the map with Taiwan and China in different color at the Democracy Summit, different color. Several minutes later, she spoke again. Video fed of her presentation had been cut. That just gives you an indication how sensitive it is, even with the color. During this presentation, it shows the separation. So that kind of gives you a sense how sensitive it is in the global political situation. Even reflects what is the US policy toward Taiwan and China. On one hand, they said it's one China policy. On the other hand, they would respect Taiwan independence. So it's a confrontation. Well, here's some of the newspapers saying Taiwan's status is geopolitical absurdity. The island is not recognized by the most important allies. It's not recognized. It faces existential threat from territory claimed as its own. So its threat is from China. The sovereignty status is being gradually erased by companies seeking to preserve access to the world's largest market. So IBM, Motorola, big companies, Tesla, they all want China big market. So Taiwan, if you have to choose, take vote, Taiwan will not be in favor. That's too bad. Anyway, that's a little bit of background of Taiwan. Now let's focus on FFI. Taiwan has 5 chapters of FFI in that small island. It's not in sequence, but I'll just refresh. Kaohsiung is the southern part of Taiwan. Taichung is in the middle of Taiwan. Hsinchu is at the Silicon Valley of Taiwan. Taipei, Greater Taipei. And it's all under control of my wife. my wife is the boss. So I did check with my wife, how many members, so on and so forth. She said, you have to be careful on that. Because if we say too many, then where's the membership fee?
Friends.
Right. So it's all to the impact of COVID-19. Talk about COVID-19, then I can talk a little bit about the the culture will make a difference on the way Taiwanese handle COVID-19. Taiwan is trying to have 0 case. Taiwan wanted to have 0 case. So when Taiwan have 1 case, everybody is frightened. When you have 10 cases, nobody goes out. I mean, I'm talking about whole country. If you have 50 cases, then the country locked down. So I would consider that's a culture. So for me to come here, to hear somebody says, oh, well, we just got COVID-19, very casual. I say, what? No, they keep on talking. Just very relaxed. So anyway, because of that, the FFI activities really reduced down. Well, like Edward keep on saying, we hope everything will get restarted. And if that were the case, I would personally, and also my wife, extend our welcome to you to go outbound to Taiwan. We will personally make sure you got a VIP status.
Yes.
All right, we got that recorded too.
Okay. Well, Taiwan has no real natural resources, but Taiwan become Taiwan because of technology. And the reason it become technology, I really think is because educational policy. It is a joke that we said, if a brick fell out of a building to knock down 10 people, and if they 1, 2, 3, 9.5 of them have got a PhD. So that just means Taiwan people are highly educated. So me, PhD, rocket scientist, nothing in Taiwan, and nothing. Everybody's PhD, from the president to the vice president to prime minister to minister of this. Everybody has PhD. So that's the way it is in Taiwan. Very educational, competitive. So become an island technology has its background, has its reason. So from traditional Chinese, which we probably gradually losing it, and that's too bad. That's a Chinese opera. I don't even think when you visit Taiwan, you'll be able to see Chinese opera because it doesn't exist anymore. That's too bad. Instead, it's all technology, IC, chips, manufacturings, waivers, computers. Well, a little bit of something to know about China, I mean Taiwan. Back in the 1500s, the Portuguese, the sailors discovered Taiwan and said, wow, that's a beautiful island. And in their language, it's called Formosa. So there is another term for Taiwan, it's called Formosa. For those people trying to have a Taiwan independence, they want to use Formosa instead of Taiwan. I was involved with the Taiwan rocket, the satellite design. So we named, or our team named that satellite as a ROCSAT 1, ROCSAT, ROCSAT, Republic of China Satellite 1. But then after the Party of Independence took over, they changed that name to Formosa 1. So that tells you how much they care, how much they want to involve in putting Taiwan as nothing to do with China. They don't want to have this word of China it involved a lot of reforms, such as the China airline, for example. They wanted to get rid of that China Petroleum. This is in Taiwan, because after all the companies in Taiwan came from China back in 1949. So everything has the name of China. China Petroleum, China Post, China Airline. So they wanted to get rid of the name of China, and they want to put it in Taiwan in. And that's where someone here said the Lithuania in Taiwan now become very popular subject of discussion. Anyway, so the national language in Taiwan is Mandarin. But Taiwan, I would say, when you go to Taiwan, you will meet with people, 95% of them will be able to speak simple English. So you will never get lost in Taiwan, not knowing Chinese. In Taipei, I want to say very safe. There's very little crime or very little. And many elements in Taiwan's life influenced by Chinese culture. There is a superstitions. There still are superstitious things such as numbers. In Taiwan or in China, they don't like the number 4. Number 4 in pronunciation of Chinese equivalent to death. So when you go to the elevator or when you go to the high-rise building, there is no 4th floor. So it's almost 1, 2, 3, 5. So that's just something to know. Even though you would think we're a religious group of people, but statistics shows no, only 50%. But of course, out of the 50%, most are Buddhism and Taoism. And there are about 10% out of that 50% is Christian. This is a Taiwan building 101. At one point of time, it's the tallest building in the world, but it took over by other building by now. It's not the tallest. Dragon in Chinese culture are very highly regarded. Typically, it refers to king or emperor. And along with dragon, there are also phoenix, tiger, and surprisingly, turtles. Turtles means long life. Turtles will live very long. And Taiwan has a lot of earthquakes. A lot of times when we host inbound FFI and the earthquake hit, they're in panic. They're very scared. So we have to comfort them, calm them down. This is okay. But of course, sometimes when you have Richter scale to the 7 or the 8, of course, bad things can still happen. Well, this is the number. Almost a year, it's a 1,000 perceivable earthquake, 17,000 non-perceivable quakes. So that's how frequent it is. So the building is built to the Richter scale of 7. Another casual thing is Taiwan very emphasized the garbage will not touch the ground. When you have a garbage, you go out, wait for the garbage truck to come in and then put it in the garbage truck. So the garbage will never in the public place anytime. It's taking from your house, wait, and then put it in a garbage truck. So there are timing for the garbage truck to come into your area. So everybody knows that's timing. So a lot of people come out that time to have a casual talk. That become another thing of community gathering. And the garbage truck will notify people, hey, I'm here by Beethoven. That's garbage truck. Again, Tainan, remember I said southern part of Taiwan is the first city in Taiwan. And I encourage you all to go see it. And again, most popular activity in Taiwan is karaoke on TV. So it's called a KTV. And it's very, very popular. When you go to Taiwan, you cannot miss it. Your host family will take you there every day, force you to sing. So what I wanted you to prepare is, at least you should prepare 3 songs. Okay, talk about face mask. Taiwan people has no trouble in having face mask anytime when there are cases like COVID-19, no trouble at all. They get used to it. They almost, it's become part of their life. And you know, that's Taiwan. Even newscaster wear a mask when they are on the air during the broadcasting. The newsman or woman, you know, carry mask. So even when they talk like me, they still have mask on. Another thing, Taiwanese consider rude to say no instead of they'll say, maybe. I'll give you a joke. When I was in Silicon Valley, I came from California. It's always because that's the West Coast. So from Taiwan, airplane goes to West Coast first. So they always landed either in LA or San Francisco. So I was in Silicon Valley. So I always have friends come to my home. Sometimes I pick up, then I have to go to a social function. Sometimes I just take him to social function, come with me. And so in this social function, typically you sit down and then the host will say, so what do you like to drink? You know, then offer you orange juice, apple juice, water, tea, coffee. So it's my friend's term just from Taiwan. Then my friend asked him, what do you want? My friend just said, oh, no, I don't want it. I don't want anything. Because it's rude to say, no, that's, wait a minute, okay. That's a little bit contradictory, but my point is, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to, don't bother. Don't worry about me. That's what it, behind him, he said, I don't want anything. Behind that is, I don't want to bother you. Oh, that's okay. So the American host would say, okay, no, it's no. And you don't need anything. So after then they served in orange juice, apple juice, tea, coffee, hot water. And then only he doesn't have anything. And then he looked around, he said, everybody has it. So he said, can I have a water? So anyway, Taiwanese and Chinese are a little bit conservative, reserved, not really showing what he really wanted. So sometimes indirectly saying something. And this is a little bit Chinese culture, different from Western culture. Western culture are very direct. Yes is yes, no is no. There is no, yeah, maybe. Okay, 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven here is almost like a convenience store, but in Taiwan, it takes care of everything. Your electrical bill, your water bill, your school tuition, your car insurance, the police give you a ticket, you have to pay, you can pay the 7-Eleven. So 7-Eleven in Taiwan take care of everything. And it's everywhere. One time I said to my sister-in-law, I said, okay, well, tomorrow we got 8 o'clock, we can go together there. So let's meet at 7-Eleven. So by 8:10, She's not there. And I call her, where are you? I'm at 7-Eleven. I said, I am at the 7-Eleven. Wait a minute, which 7-Eleven is it? "No, my 7-Eleven. I said, my 7-Eleven. So this 7-Eleven is only 50 meters away.
And it started in Dallas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. August is the month of ghost. So we have this tradition that in August, don't do anything significant, such as getting married, getting a new job, buy a new house, buy a new car. Actually, don't do anything. Well, maybe it's a good time for you to come to
Yeah,
August
yeah.
because you're not afraid of ghosts. Well, you know, because of an introduction to you, so I do a little checking of myself, even though I know Chinese is very smart, but I didn't know it's that smart. We invented toilet paper. And of course, so early, they invented toilet paper is only for the king, not for everybody. And by the way, fortune cookie is not invented by Chinese, by real Chinese culture. No, we don't have Chinese, we don't have fortune cookie. It's a purely American commercial thing. But it's become a big business. Billions of fortune cookie. And we also invent ice cream.
Oh, yes, good.
Well, this is almost my last few pictures. You will get to know stinky tofu everywhere. And stinky tofu is very stinky. And I think your host family, your host may introduce you about this, this, and this. And a lot of people talk about it, and some people try it. So my advice,
Can you go back one?
okay.
So have you eaten, when you talk about that? Yeah, it's where it says, they'll often say,
Have you eaten instead of how are you?
Sorry,
They'll say, have you eaten?
yeah.
Instead of saying, how are you?
Neither was a smelly sound.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, sure.
What makes it stinky? Why stinky tofu?
What make it stinky?
Yeah,
Well, technically, I don't know how to answer that, but it's just put it away in where you will have, it's almost like you make cheese
Fermented.
fermenting, okay? It's a similar process that you do the cheese, except it will artificially put more things to make it more stinky. And there are horrible stories behind that I don't want to share with you.
People eat it?
Huh?
Do people in Taiwan eat it?
Very popular. Eat it, yes. Very popular.
Question,
Yeah. Go ahead.
can Taiwan feed itself? Do you produce enough foodstuffs to feed your population?
Has Taiwan produced enough food to feed our population?
Yes,
Okay, the answer is no. We have to import. In fact, there's a big confrontational issue which become the national voting event about importing pork from US. The pork with chemicals. I don't know how to translate that in English.
Yeah.
There are
Hormones or whatever.
the things feeding to the pig so the pig can grow faster.
Hormones.
Yeah,
One of the hormones.
yeah. GMOs.
So in other words, the short answer to you is no, we don't produce enough anymore because the island has transformed from agricultural to technology. There is no more farmland anymore.
So where do you import from?
From all over the world. In fact, economically, Taiwan relies on China. Politically, we are rivalry. But again, there are two parties in Taiwan. There are pro-China, there are against China. So the food issue you can also consider as a political issue. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
Earlier on, you said that there really wasn't a shortage of computer chips, that enough were being made, but there seemed to be in the distribution line, like somebody's hoarding them. Who is doing that?
That I can't really answer, but it's the middleman, it's the distributor. So typically, as we all know, they buy in during the timing and then stock it until the price go up, then sell it. So that's what I was told. Because TSMC was under a lot of pressure to expand the capacity. And TSMC, as a typical semiconductor company, stay low profile, we just do our own business. But at one point, I think the pressure, the stress is so high that everybody's saying, hey, TSMC, what's going on? So they came out to make that announcement officially. Yes.
You know how you said there's no floor? There's no fourth floor?
There's no fourth floor, right?
For a long time, there was no 13.
Oh,
We had the same superstition about the
Okay.
number 13.
okay.
A lot of places, there's no 13 floors.
So there was a question from the floor is, so does Taiwan have a fishing industry?
Fishing industry,
Yes.
yes. Taiwan has a fishing industry, but how should I put it? I think Taiwan's fishing industry has transformed from quote fishing to support of fishing. In other words, we build ship, we build boat, we build the tools, we build the net to support the fishing industry.
And then sell it to other companies.
Sell to other companies. For example, I think we have the largest net company in the world to provide that net. And that net is becoming a very technology oriented net. It goes down to the water real quick and it comes out real quick. So that I know. And the fishing industry is very, very populous in the southern part of Taiwan.
But not in the northern.
Not the northern.
Okay, there's another
Well,
question.
let Kathy go. So Kathy.
I just wondered, were tariffs, when the Chinese had tariffs posted on from our country, did that apply to Taipei and Taiwan as well?
Tariff.
Tariff.
The tax tariffs. So the question is when the United States imposed all those tariffs, when Trump imposed all those tariffs on the Chinese goods coming in, did that apply also to goods coming in from Taiwan?
I can give you two answers. One is directly no. No. But indirectly, yes. Why? Because I was saying Taiwan economically and China are all tied together. 10, 20 years ago, China has no manufacturing. China has no technology. It's all because Taiwan people went to China to transfer whatever we have in Taiwan to China. Then China started to have manufacturing, then a little bit engineering. then technology. So they are, so Taiwan's economic is highly dependent on importing, exporting with China.
You're the middleman. huh?
Yes, right.
Thank you.
Your education, you said that like majority of people in Taiwan have PhDs. Is the school system like state-run, or how do you do a private school, public school? You start school when you're 5?
Okay.
So the question is, Julia was asking, since there's a lot of education and a lot of educated people in China, who runs the education system there? And when do you start school?
Back in my days, only 1 out of 10 students can have the opportunity to go to university. Very competitive. Only the good one can go to university because there's just limited slots. That's back in my days. So those who can go to university are already sort of a cream of the crop. And then out of those 10% can have the opportunity to go to international graduate schools such as America. Then that would be top of the top. So that were in the back in the good old days, my days. Very competitive. But now, to make a long story short, now it's almost 100% can go to university, which means the quality is coming down. And so back in my days are almost maybe 90% of public school. So my parents is also in the education, teachers. So my tuition are pretty much waived. You can consider very low cost to get education once you're in. 90% of that is public school, 10% maybe private. But nowadays, I think that shift quite significantly. That private school is coming out of 50%. And that's why the education are more populous. So everybody who want an education, you can get education. And of course, I'm not for that kind of system, but I'll just say it. So it's not a good education system anymore. So what I said, many PhDs, probably in 20 years, my speech will be different. Yeah.
So is your son at UT Dallas?
My son is from Berkeley.
Oh, it's Berkeley.
Yeah.
Is that where he lives?
No, my son went to UC Berkeley and went to dental school and then practiced here in Dallas. Is that question?
What does he do here?
Dentist.
Dentist. Wow.
Sure.
How are the schools and all the public facilities paid for?
Okay, so the question is, so it kind of goes back to Julie's question. So are the schools public, and then are the ones that are public, who pays for them? Is it like taxpayer funded or government funded? How do they do that? Is that right?
Well, basically, of course, government paid it, but then it is taxpayers' money too. So it's a government funded for all those facilities. Yes.
Now, are you still working for TI here?
No, no, I work for Lockheed, but I don't work for Lockheed now.
Do many countries,
Go down from your generation to your son's generation for the doctorate and the higher education. Like you said, 1 in 100 went on, but maybe they see that their children go on, and I don't know. I'm just.
So the question is
hoping.
it so maybe it's, the question is did you, your parents were educators, and so that was one of the reasons you went to school. So did you kind of put that value into your kids? And do you think people said, hey, you need to get an education because that's what's going to help you in your job, in your life?
Yeah, I carry that philosophy, yes. But however,
Question?
however, sometimes I think somewhere along the line in the near future, that will change.
Yeah, because what happens if you need a plumber?
I mean, yeah, right. That was gonna be my question. If everybody's got PhDs, who sweeps the streets, you know? I mean.
And you know, now in the United States, big thrust is for tech type, you know, 2-year or certificate degrees. You can get a job much, much better if you get, I have grandchildren that are like college age right now. None of them are going to go to 4-year university, college. They're all going for dental tech and that sort of thing. That's where the jobs are going to be. I mean, I have friends that work in this field, and they say there aren't a lot of academic jobs anymore. That the most of the jobs are like electrician.
All right, we've got one question from online from Tanya. Hi, Tanya. So her question is how in general, and you know, it's simplified. So in general, when people that you know in Taiwan, your colleagues, your family, your friends, how do they view, what do they think about America? In some parts of the world, America is not viewed favorably. So how do the kind of the general Taiwanese people feel about the United States of America?
Okay, most of your question, I make a long story short, just to give you a short answer. This one, I wanted to give you a long answer. Again, back in my days, American is best, is the top of everything. Those who have the opportunity to go to US are the best can happen in your life. My parents, well, I got a scholarship, so I don't need really a lot of money from my parents, but my parents was able to buy me a one-way ticket to US. And that's a lot of years of saving. And my mother take me to her room before I fly next day. She said, I have put $600 US in your jacket pocket. And I, what do you call, sew it, so it is sealed. So that's the last $600. If whatever thing you are happening in US, there's no way you can survive in US, then use that money to buy the ticket back to Taiwan.
Have you still got it?
Good question. I lost that jacket. I lost that jacket in Las Vegas.
I hope you didn't tell her.
So back in my days, yes. And I always talk this to my younger generation friends, says, I'm the last one of the kind type of overseas student, one of the last kind. Because after my generation, Taiwan economy start booming. You know, $600 US is lifetime saving back in my days. But 10 years, even 5 years from my days, $600 is not that much anymore. So Taiwan has economic boom after that. So in my days, I come to US with 2 luggage and 1 rice cooker. The people after me, when they come to US, they don't carry 2 luggage anymore. They carry credit card. So So the feeling of US from highly respect, this is number one. And if you can achieve that, that's honorable to you, to your family, to the next generation, to the next generation, to the next generation. That US just another country. I can go to US anytime. If I like it, I'll stay. If I don't like it, then I'll go to UK, I'll go to Canada, I'll go to Europe. It's just like another country. But of course, US is still powerful. So
How do people know, think of Americans? I mean, I know we're blunt, so they think that for one thing. I mean, but what else? I mean, did your wife like us?
my wife, of course, we are on the same side. Well, you ask a very deep question now. I don't know how deep I want to go, but let me just say this. Because politically involvement of US with Taiwan to confront China. So Taiwan become a tool, something bargaining. Yeah. So Taiwan becomes says, hey, China, I'll let you have Taiwan. And then you'll only have another thing. Or, so Taiwan become one political something. So with that, Taiwan has a group of people that's pretty much against the US because political reason, because of the China relationship. So those are all tangled up.
How can you continue? Because China, you will get all your food from. And the US, maybe will protect you, maybe won't.
We're not, that's right.
Right. So the question is so what's going to happen to Taiwan because they're somewhat or partially or mostly dependent on imports from China?
We're not a politician. I'm not a politician, but I will. I will answer from my point of view. That is, economically, Taiwan and China are friends. Politically, we are enemy. And how does that balance continue? You beat?
Each other?
No, that beats me.
Oh,
I don't know the answer either, but this balance has been going on in the last 20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
So I just wanted to say, so Tanya, who asked you about what do the Taiwanese think about Americans? She says, what a lovely heartfelt answer. Thank you for sharing your perspective on how America is viewed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
First two questions. First question is, you talked about we all know about the ideological differences, human rights, democracy. You talked about the per capita income disparity. You talked about the disparity in education. Besides, which are very important. But besides those, are there any differences between Taiwan and China regarding? I come from the Middle East. Originally, I come from. We have all sorts of problems. Are there any differences pertaining to that? Religion, racial, language, culture.
Okay, so Radwan, hold on, let's do this one. So Radwan asked, Eade has said that there is some differences between political and some economic differences between Taiwan and China. So Radwan was asking, is there much difference between racial, religious, ethnic, language issues between the two countries?
Most of the thing you mentioned, that there's not much difference, except, okay, let me say this. Back in 1949, when Chiang Kai-shek was defeated by Communist Party, there are many people from various part of the country all come to Taiwan. So Taiwan even is small, at that time, small population, but it has a good representation of big China. In fact, that's the basis of good education came from, because those who came from China, from various parts of China, are all educated people like my parents. So that's already good quality of people, almost like a selective of people from China to Taiwan. So Taiwan has a good representation of all that. And one of the particular things is the food. In Taiwan, you can find all kind of food representing northern part, southern part, Yunnan, Sichuan, hot and spicy, and noodles, rice, all kinds. So Taiwan has that accommodative. But one thing I will point out that the big difference, that is, in the last 30 years, China has grown exponentially economically. My very first visit to Beijing was 1985. I stepped out the United Airlines 747, went to Beijing International Airport. I saw a big electrical fan right below in front of me, big, huge, because there's no air conditioning. So the family, my parents' family, which is my family, they all gathered to take me to see me landed in Beijing. And I wrote the letter to say I will be taking a United Airlines landing 18:30 or 6:30 p.m. They didn't know what that PM means. So they were there 6:30 in the morning. They waited until afternoon 6:30. So that's how big difference at back then. And I visited that family. I said to myself, boy, these people, my family, they will never ever have a chance to buy a ticket to the United States because they're too poor. But who knows? 30 years later, they are second most powerful economic country in the world. Okay, make a long story short again. So they have a lot of money, but their culture has not grown. Their culture was destroyed during Cultural Revolution. That was completely destroyed. So they have no, I will say very bluntly that China has no Chinese culture. The Chinese culture are reserved completely in Taiwan. In fact, there's one place you have to visit. It's called the Palace Museum. Palace Museum has the best artifacts that moved from China to Taiwan. So to answer your question directly, the big difference is the culture. For example, we still reserve the tradition of 5 generations living together under one roof. Grandma's great-grandma is the leader of the house. Great-grandma says one thing, nobody says no. We Taiwanese, well, we're still losing it gradually.
I want to go there.
Welcome to America.
But in China, Chinese, no more. That's destroyed during Cultural Revolution.
So other than like the Great Wall and the terracotta soldiers, the Xi'an, there is some stuff, but there's not a whole lot of history of China 100, 200, 300, 400 years ago in mainland China. Is that what you're saying?
Those are what do you call hardware?
Yeah.
Artifact.
Oh, okay.
Those
Oh,
are
so-
not
So the civilian, the people. culture,
Right.
The people.
Yeah.
culture, Okay.
the traditional thinking,
Okay.
yeah. You know, there are a lot of Chinese poet talking about the father-son relationship, king and officer relationship, mother, father, that there are a lot of culturally rich teaching in Chinese culture. Those are not emphasized in China. Second question.
Second question is, you all know about the position of the United States pertaining to that. What is the position of Russia? Do they have something beyond the one China policy?
I mean,
In other words, if something that forbids war pops up tomorrow, where would Russia?
where would
Russia.
Russia?
So the second question Radwan has is does Eade know what the policy of Russia is towards mainland China and the Republic of China? Do they favor one or both or neither or all or what?
During the heated discussion about war from China to Taiwan, Putin, the president of Russia, made a very simple statement. Says, "Oh, China doesn't need war with Taiwan. China only need economic sanction." In other words, what he's saying is, China can just put a ship around the Taiwan and announce to people, say, "Hey, this is a war zone, so don't get close." Then nothing comes into Taiwan, and Taiwan will hungry to death. So just making that a statement, I think he's pro-China. Okay. But that's all politics.
One more question and then we need to. Okay. I'm a retired nurse and I work with many nurses from Taiwan. And two of them were sisters. And I was amazed, being in the South, you don't discuss money. You don't discuss how much you pay for something, how much you make. And these two were adorable. They saved every penny and paid cash for a nice house, okay? And I would buy a car and then say, "What did you pay for it? And what did you pay for this?" And they saved, and I just wanted to know if Taiwan is still that way, that they save their money and they're or have they gone the credit card play?
All right. So the question that Kathy Ignatin has is she, and so these were two women that you knew here? The two Chinese, they were here? Okay. So she had some friends from China who, were very frugal and saved from Taiwan, who were very frugal and saved their money, paid a lot of stuff for cash, and would ask Kathy, how much did you pay for this? How much did you pay for that? Which is not normally something that happens in the United States. So the question to Eade is are the people in Taiwan still pretty frugal and do a lot of saving, or have they gone on the credit card binge like a lot of people in other parts of the world have done?
As I was saying, I'm the last generation Chinese overseas student, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations from me, their credit cards. Not just credit card, I would say so bad, it is getting so bad that they will spend all the monthly income at that month. We have a particular phrase for that. It's a very rhyme in Chinese, but I cannot say in English, but the meaning is they will spend all the money at that month. Used to be that's like a Mexican.
Yeah.
They get a paycheck and then they spend it all, and then they're missing work for 2 weeks, and when they have nothing, they come back to work. So we're not that bad yet, but we are getting there. So sorry to say that. But
We have more slides though, right? Show us the
No,
rest.
that was it. That was the last one. The stinky tofu was the last
Stinky
one,
tofu,
right?
that's right,
Okay.
yeah.
So one last question from Tanya again. So your discussion about the lack of traditional culture in mainland China, do you think that might be because of the one-child policy? She said she has a Chinese friend who told her that the only children didn't learn to share. And so there is a difference in Taiwan as well, or?
Taiwan has no one-child policy, no. And one-child policy in China was very controversial to begin with. The original thought was just to control the population because there's not enough food on the table to begin with. So it started very simple calculation, but it trickled down to a very complicated matter because the Chinese are very, very much for son instead of daughter. So every marriage wanted to have a son to carry the family name. So if they happen to be pregnant with daughter, they will do bad things. So that kind of triggered down into a very complicated phenomenon that there's only men, but there's not enough woman, And also your point that one child is there's no sibling to be teaming with, to fight, to cooperating, to this communicating, So that's a lot of complicated issue. And that's also part of what I call cultural differences. And that one child will enjoy all the privilege from six adults, two grandpa, two grandma, father, mother.
Very spoiled.
He can get everything. He can get away with anything. And imagine when he grows up to 20, 25 years old. I'm sure you can imagine.
You gotta deal with it.
You gotta deal with that. So it's very, very, I really hate to, but he will become self-centered very much.
But you have two children.
Me? Oh, I have many.
Too official.
How many do you have? Better not ask any more questions.
I have 5.
5 children?
Do you have any grandchildren?
4.
Do they, so you've got one child over here, right?
I have a son here as a dentist. I have a daughter just moved from California to here. And I have a daughter in Taiwan.
And your grandchildren, where are they?
2 here, 2 in Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you.